So today we chose option number 1, which is, hey, do you remember September 11th of 2001? And we are going to interview Mr. Daniel Dobie.
How clearly do you remember this event?
The event of 9/11?
Yeah.
Really well. I was teaching biology in the state of Wisconsin at a public school, and as the first plane hit one of the World Trade Center buildings, the news went on, and our school had TV monitors around the school, classrooms had TVs, the word got out quick, instruction stopped, everybody was watching this. This took precedence over math or science because this was big. We didn't know if we were under attack, to what extent we were or weren't under attack, and then we sat and watched in awe. It was very silent, very surreal. High school students were not laughing about it. I mean, it was real. You know, it was like wow, what's going on? And then we saw the second plane hit, and if I don't recall. I think by the time the buildings collapsed, we were probably home from school, so I don't recall seeing that at school. I can't remember. I just remember the initial reaction, and it was just like, what's going on? And we knew there was another plane in the air, and it was going towards the Pentagon, and all airlines were cut off, except for, interestingly enough, only people from Saudi Arabia were able to get in planes and fly and leave the country. Still don't know why that was the case. Anyway, so yeah, that was a pretty interesting, well, it was a surreal day. And then I had a chance this summer to go to the Freedom Tower and see the memorial, and I didn't think that I would be. I didn't expect what would happen to me, because I didn't feel any personal connection, and this was like 11, 13 years ago. And when I went to the Freedom Tower, really, everybody needs to go there, because I have to just say this because it's tied right in, even though 12, 13 years passed. When I went to that spot, I was overwhelmed with so many emotions that I can't explain. I was watching the firemen and the policemen on guard, watching the place, and I just got quiet. I even teared up. It was a really emotional experience being there. I recommend everybody go to that. That's, yeah, so I'll stop talking and rambling.
What happened that day?
Well, during the time out here, I did kind of cover both questions in my first question. So I'm going to address specifically right now, what did our school do? What actions did the staff and the administration take to facilitate the well-being of our school and also pay attention to this very important matter? I think the school handled it very well. Our principal got on the intercom and told the whole student body, in case they weren't aware. He gave them the details as he knew it, that one World Trade Center, I remember him being over the intercom, and then the second World Trade Center was hit by a plane, and that there was possibly a third plane on the way towards Washington, D.C. We didn't know it was going to hit the Pentagon at that time. So he was telling the students that this was this was happening, but that we were safe in our community at the moment. There was no indications that that there was anything remotely close to the state of Wisconsin. So we were personally safe, but as a country, this was something that we were all focused on. And he told the teachers over the intercom that he advised us, the teachers, to make a decision between watching the news and kind of watching it, but then not overdoing it, because it would be overkill. So he advised us over the intercom to the staff, and the students heard it, so they understood the rationale, and it was very, very well done. That we need to, we can't focus on this all day. So for the health of the students, the teachers were encouraged to try to run some class and then go back to the news. Every class had a TV monitor, so that they would try to Pay attention to it, but then remove yourself from it so that you wouldn't be overwhelmed.
Like a balance.
Yeah. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adobe was feeling many emotions when the 9/11 attack happened. He was teaching at school and he was feeling secure due to the fact that he was living in Wyoming, but as a country, he was feeling very insecure. He was also confused because they didn't know what was going to happen with the country, or they didn't know if they were under attack because they knew about that it was a terrorist attack many hours later. He felt chaos in the community because there was something big happening to the country. Everyone was paying close attention to that instead of other things. Any other things that Mr. Dobie could have been teaching were not important in that time because of this great event that happened that September 11th.
So, for the first question, Mr. Dobie mentioned that at first he felt very confused because he did not know if they were being under attack. By they, I mean the school. And as they were watching the news, they were all in fear and in awe, and they were speechless because they didn't know what was actually going on. He also explained that years later, he visited the memorial of 9/11, and he did not know what to expect because he didn't have any personal connections with it. But even though he did not have anyone related being hurt, he felt very overwhelmed and ended up in tears. To add on, even though people were very stressed and scared, the school decided to diminish that by balancing out the hours that the students could watch the news, but they were still being informed. So before answering the question, I just want to explain what NACER it was trying to explain about the storytelling schema. And he meant by this that flashbulb memory is governed by a storytelling with a specific structure. And by that I mean that when you are explaining or telling the traumatic event that happened in your life, you kind of like hit certain points or like stages within the story, and those can be like the place, the activity, the informant, and the effect, which are like personal details you really remember. And in the interview, we can clearly see that Mr. Dobie hit those points, starting out with the place, like where he was during the event, the activity, what was he doing, the informant, like who informed him about the event, and how was he affected by this event. So starting off with the place, he states that he was in Wisconsin just teaching at his public high school. And then the activity he was doing, again, he was teaching his high school biology class. So he was just doing something he would do on a regular basis, just wake up, go to teach, and then he never knew this was going to happen. Then how was he informed? In his school, they have like these like big monitors, and when like people were knowing about the event, they posted the news on the monitors. So anybody at the school, if you were a staff or a high school student, like you were being informed and actually seeing what was happening in New York City by these monitors. And then lastly, how was he affected by this event? He clearly states how did this event touch him. Like at first people were just like amazed and like just taking it all in, like 'cause they didn't know like why was this happening, who was getting hurt. Like it was like a big deal to them, but at the same time it was just like silent, like nobody was talking, nobody was laughing, everybody was just like staring. And at the same time he had mixed confusions and mixed feelings because he didn't know like if their school was going to be attacked, if there was going to be more attacks throughout the United States. So he was very touched and very emotional and very like connected in a way to this. And at the end of the interview, he explains that he went to the memorial of 9/11, and he just like literally could remember just going there, going to the actual place. he could remember it as if it was the day ago. And I think anybody that has been through a traumatic or emotional event will remember it perfectly, and will remember it and can explain it as if it was a day ago, because it was so bad or so traumatizing that you remember it perfectly. So Mr. Dobie did use the storytelling schema.